You've probably experienced this. You walk into a shopping mall, hospital, bookstore, or airport, and soon find yourself lost and confused. You clearly entered through the main entrance, but now you can't find the way out, or worse, you keep passing the same place again. People often say, "I just have no sense of direction," or "the place is just too big." But is it really just coincidence? Could the spaces we walk through every day contain deliberate designs of confusion, structures meant to influence our psychology?
Why do we become anxious, disoriented, and desperate to escape in complex maze-like spaces? This reaction isn't cultural or learned. It's deeply rooted in our brain's primal survival system. The first area to respond is the amygdala. It detects fear and triggers an instinctual survival response. When we enter a space with no clear exit or predictable path, the amygdala fires off a threat signal. Heart rate rises, anxiety kicks in, and the brain quickly decides, this place is not safe. Then comes the disruption of our cognitive map. In 1948, psychologist Edward Tolman showed through experiments that animals form mental maps of space as they move. Humans do the same. We build internal maps of where we are and where we're going. But a maze disrupts that process, with endless turns, dead ends, and no landmarks. Eventually, the brain labels the space as uncontrollable. When this happens repeatedly, the brain learns something deeper. Learned helplessness. It stops trying to navigate, and the person gives up control, sinking into passive acceptance. In hospital design studies, patients often reported greater anxiety over finding their room again than over their actual illness. In short, our brains don't just see a maze as complex, they treat it as a potential trap. It triggers primal fear. If our brains instinctively fear such confusing structures, did ancient societies exploit this reaction? A famous example, the Labyrinth of Cretan, the legend of the Minotaur. More than just a myth, this maze was a symbol of power and sacrifice, a place you couldn't escape once inside. In medieval Europe, cathedrals like Chartres Cathedral embedded massive maze patterns into their floors. Pilgrims had to walk through them slowly, on their knees, before they could approach the sacred altar. Even in Buddhism, mandalas reflect this idea, a path from chaos toward divine order. Across cultures, mazes were never just puzzles. They were ritualized disorientation, turning fear into obedience. Strangely enough, many modern spaces mimic ancient mazes. Airports, hospitals, malls, universities, and government complexes all tend to follow similar design patterns, non-linear, repetitive, multi-choice paths. This isn't just for space efficiency, it's based on architectural psychology and behavioral economics. The goal? Design confusion that can be controlled. Take the Pentagon, for instance. It may look simple from the outside, but inside, it's a massive 17.5-mile maze of rings and diagonal corridors. It's built to let insiders move fast, while making it nearly impossible for outsiders to navigate. This is called internal efficiency, external obscurity. Shopping malls use similar principles. One key concept, the Gruen transfer. It describes how people, once disoriented in a mall, become more likely to make unplanned purchases. Lighting, music, hidden exits, they all cause cognitive confusion, emotional fatigue, impulsive behavior. Urban planning calls this environmental behavior theory. It suggests that power structures, whether governments or corporations, can use space to guide, restrict, or manipulate movement. Getting lost in these places might not be your fault. Maybe the place was built that way. Paths are visible, but real exits? They're harder to find on purpose. Some occult theorists and architectural critics go further. They claim that certain large buildings contain repeated symbolic patterns. Mazes, CCTV placement, and eye-shaped floor plans. These mirror Illuminati and Freemason symbolism, they say. Some international airports feature central halls that resemble mandalas or eyes from above. Security zones seem open, but movement is strictly guided. This has led to claims that it's not just order from chaos anymore, but the creation of chaos within order to condition people into subtle submission. We think we're walking freely, but maybe the path we're on was always pre-designed. Ancient priests used mazes to enforce obedience. Modern architects use them to push consumption. Power structures use them to shape behavior. Psychology says, when we're lost, we surrender decision-making. Architecture says, confusing layouts aren't accidents. They can be intentional tools. So here's the question. Whose maze are you walking in? Maybe you're not just lost. Maybe the space was designed to lose you. And maybe that's the real shape of power.